Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ditsapelo McFarland. I am an associate professor at Adelphi University, College of Nursing and Public Health, Garden City, New York. The topic of my presentation today is Professor Serara Kupe-Mogwe's contributions to development of the nursing profession in Botswana. This slide is showing us the professor herself and how we talk about her as a real legend and Florence Nightingale of our time, Botswana's first nursing officer. In the next slide, I want to share with you a brief picture of where Professor is coming from. This is the city of Gaborone in Botswana, the biggest city in the country, just to give you a little bit of her country. This is the outline that I will be using today and during this presentation. Introduction, contributions to nursing, distinguished recognitions, and her journey and challenges, ethical considerations, implications, and acknowledgements, and the sources where I found the information to put this paper together, references. In recognition of the vital role played by the nurses and the midwives in providing healthcare services, WHO, World Health Organization, designated 2020 as the year of the nurse and the midwife. Based on this designation, I found it fitting and proper that tribute be paid to the nursing icon of our time, Professor Serara Kupe-Mogwe, for the tremendous contribution to development of nursing profession in Botswana and internationally, because she didn't only focus in Botswana, her contribution was worldwide. Her illustrious career includes that distinction of serving as Botswana first chief nursing officer. This is the role that enabled her to achieve her goals for developing this country. Her contributions in many ways parallel the contributions of the nursing international nursing of the past. You see here, let me move this down a little bit. There are contributions of Florence Nightingale here. Her contribution parallel that of Florence Nightingale, who we know pioneered the nursing profession in the 1800s. And like Florence Nightingale, she established the first organized school of nursing, the National Health Institute, with the Kalek Foundation in 1970. And the professional development for nurses was virtually non-existent before she came. And now the institution has 5 campuses and has educated many nurses, including student nurses, also including professions from students from health allied professions, like a dentist, like a pharmacy and laboratory. And she restructured the nursing education to be completed in 3 years. Previously, it was 4 years, and found that the 4 years was too long. The education can be done in 3 years. So the era was also marked by more men taking up nursing profession. Before that, there were very few men in nursing. Next slide. Her contributions also parallel, similar to that of Adelaide Natin, who moved nursing from hospital-based training to university education. Move this a little bit forward here. Okay. Like Adelaide Natin, Professor started Bachelor of Education degree for nurses at the University of Botswana in 1978. I'm actually a product of that program. And she was looking into preparing competent nurses who would assume teaching roles, as there were very few teachers with that were educated at that level. The paradigm shifted from procedure-oriented focus to one that supported nursing as an art and a science. This is because in the beginning, nurses were only procedure-oriented, and getting to the university, they were able to take courses from many faculties like education, sciences, sociology, psychology, and then they were able to translate now a practice into science that merged them together. Also, her contribution parallels that of Isabella Hampton Robb. This is an American nurse who founded American Nurse Association in 1896. Professor Kupe-Mogwe started the Nursing Association of Botswana, NAB, in 1969. And she affiliated it with the ICN during a congress in Mexico in 1973. And I have, okay, put it there. It's there. Okay. Now, why did she do that? To promote international profile of Botswana nurses through participating in the professional dialogue at nursing forums. And we see nurses today going to ICN to share their knowledge, as well as to learn and exchange ideas. And to be in line with the ICN standards, Professor Mogwe introduced Dumela Mogi, meaning hello nurse. This is the Nurses Association journal that she developed. The journal was used by the nurses, other professionals, as well as other stakeholders to share ideas and to contribute as much as they could or what they wanted to contribute. As I started in the beginning, she built this, reorganized the new nursing, and then it has so many satellites. And then we can see here, one of the institutes here, because we said it has about 4 campuses. This is one of the campuses. And then we see the movement from the campus to the university. This is the University of Botswana where nurses are today, studying for bachelor degrees, master's degrees. So her distinguished national and international recognitions include the Princess Mahidol Award that she was given in Thailand in 2019. And I've explained here why that gift, that award, for the crucial role she played in strengthening the health services systems and leading development of the nursing and midwifery of Botswana to meet the international standards. So she raised the international standards of Botswana to the standards of Botswana to the international level. Also, she received the Botswana Presidential Order of Honor. This is the highest honor that somebody can be awarded in Botswana, the highest individual honor awarded, which was really a great recognition. And then she was inducted twice into the Nursing Hall of Fame at Columbia University. No, just once. I'm sorry. She was inducted once at Columbia University for her outstanding performance. And then ICN also, this is what I wanted to say, I'm sorry. She was a member twice, an ICN board member twice, representing Africa, 1981 to 1985, and 1989 to 1993. These are some of her recognitions. There are quite a number of those, but these are some of the ones that I could capture for now. And her journey. Professor was born and raised in Bobonong, her village in Botswana. She did her secondary education or matric in Tigerkloof, South Africa. During that time, secondary schools in her country, Botswana, were very few and far apart. So like many other Botswana who knew where to go, she crossed over to South Africa for further education. In South Africa, after finishing her matric, she enrolled into a School of Nursing in McCourt Hospital, where she did her RN diploma in midwifery. And then she started teaching there. She became a faculty member because of her outstanding performance. She was just taken into teaching without any preparation at all. But this is her outstanding performance won her this position as a faculty member. And then she got married. When I was interviewing her, that's what she told me. She went to Canada, and the way she did her undergraduate, and then after completing her undergraduate, she became a faculty member in the University of Ottawa in Canada. And then later on, she obtained her master's degree and doctorate degree at Columbia University, New York. And I want to say, her success was highly celebrated, both in Botswana and in the southern parts of in the region. But the journey to accomplish the success was not an easy one. As we all know that if you start something, there has to be some problems for you to overcome. Professor tried, these are some of her challenges. She tried to return home after completing her first degree, but there was no suitable position available for a Black nurse in her country. This is because at that time, her country, Botswana, was not independent. It was still under the British rule. And as a result, there was no position that was already there, as there was no educated person at that time for this role to be created. Sorry. Then, because of that, she crossed over to the next neighboring country of Zambia, where now she started the first nursing school for RNs in Kitwe. And it's interesting and gratifying to realize that nurses in high positions in Zambia are product of that school. Then she returned home to Botswana in 1969 as the first chief nursing officer, the Minister of Health. At that time, nursing schools in the British ruled countries of Botswana, Lesotho, and Swaziland, that is the southern part of Africa, were accredited by South African Council, Nursing Council. Examinations were moderated by the national boards of Botswana, Lesotho, and Swaziland, NEBOS, which means, and the curriculum was the same for all the three countries. And despite this opposition from her counterparts in the region, she extracted Botswana from NEBOS so that nursing courses could be further restructured to meet the needs of Botswana. And her book, entitled An Uneasy Walk to Quality Evolution of Black Nursing Education, gives an insightful account of evolution of Botswana healthcare system from pre-independence era to present. In particular, it says more about the struggles she led to establish nursing as a profession independent of medicine. These are the challenges that she faced. And the next slide, we see ethical considerations. And I interviewed the author, I've interviewed the subject myself at her home with her permission, November 29, 2019. And a written approval to publish the article was granted by the family member following the subject's death. Sadly, I want to say Professor Mogwe passed on September 2nd, 2019, following a long illness. At that time, I was in the process of submitting this article for possible publication. May her soul rest in eternal peace. And conclusions. I have known Professor Mogwe since 1969, when she had recently assumed position of Chief Nursing Officer in the Ministry of Health. And I was a nursing student at that time. I got to know her even more closely over many years, over my years as her student at the University of Botswana. And she continued to be my mentor and guiding light throughout my nursing career, as well as of that other students, because she was interested in all her students. She showed interest in the development of her students, even when they were outside the country. And I bear testimony to that myself, because after graduating from the University of Botswana, I left the country also by marriage to United States. And she followed me to find out how I was doing in the US, and she gave me guidance also from a distance. And she does that to all her students. Professor has inspired me and many others that success is not a product of chance or sheer luck, but a product of clear vision, hard work, and determination to succeed. I've just spoken about the challenges that she met and she overcame them. And we learned this from her. And as implications, her nursing officer position in the Ministry of Health and her ICN membership had significant impact in nursing and health policy. Because of those positions, she was able to impact policy changes. The legacy that Professor has built has strong implications for nursing education in her country and elsewhere. And elsewhere meaning that we are also carrying that legacy across the country. Her work and achievements will be an ongoing inspiration to younger generations of nurses who will not have the opportunity to know her professionally. And on my part, I want to say, consider myself fortunate and blessed to have had such an extraordinary mentor and role model. And I would like to acknowledge the following people who helped me read the article and that it was in good condition. I have Professor Charles Ntwagai of Botswana. I have Dr. Patricia Donahue of Adelphi University, where I teach, and Dr. Taufila Manyamazabo, World Bank, who's also in Botswana working in the US, and Dr. Ditsapelo McFarland, who is also in Botswana with the Defense Force, and Dr. Sheila Shaibu, Aga Khan University, Kenya. She's also a nurse, but working Botswana, also working in Kenya. Where did I get the information to put up this paper together? And from through internet searches, local newspapers, and interviews with the clients. As I said, I went to her home to interview her. And these are the references that support what I have just said and what I've just written. And if you look down at the bottom here in red, this is the article where the article that I'm talking about is published. So if you want to see the article, it's in this section. And I want to say thank you for giving me this time to talk about Professor Serara Kupe. Let me see here. Stop recording.